It's harder than you think. Servus Freunde, my name's Jimmy Cage. I have reviewed about 400 Indian movies on the channel, and the one I want to talk about today got actually picked directly by one of our awesome Masala Meister tier supporters. Binoy Mohammed has chosen the 2010 Malayalam language comedy drama Pranchiyettan and the Saint. It was written, directed and produced by Ranjith, and it stars Mammootty in the title role as C.E. Francis, aka Pranchiyettan, aka Ari Pranchi, a rich businessman but also rather simple man at heart who tries to get a better, more respected standing in his community. Pranchiyettan and the Saint was a nice commercial as well as critical success when it came out, and I think it's now regarded as an early entry in the so-called Malayalam New Wave. I actually already tried to watch this film a few years ago, but at that time I gave up after about 30 minutes or so. I was still super new to Indian cinema, especially Malayalam cinema, and I honestly felt really lost. And to be completely honest, I still felt a little bit lost when I watched it now. I think Pranchiyettan and the Saint is one of those movies that are losing a lot of their appeal, charm and nuances in translation. Though the story and message are rather simple in retrospect, I wasn't really able to fully get on the movie's wavelength, and I was struggling to even understand at first what Mammootty's character is really all about. With this one, I really felt that cultural barrier in many regards. When it comes to the humor, the way the story shifts focus, and especially with that hard tonal shift towards the end, when we take a dive into some really heavy melodramatic territory, which unfortunately didn't work for me at all. And I'm referring to the tragic backstory of the character of the schoolboy Paulie. With that being said, I could still enjoy myself with the film because it does feature a very charming and relatable performance by Mammootty, and the different dynamics with his friends, their banter, all the funny mannerisms and the dialogue, as long as I was able to follow along with the translations, were also quite entertaining. But maybe I should go back to the beginning and to the film's title. The titular saint refers to Francis of Assisi, who happens to be the patron of Pranchiyettan's church, and who happens to appear before him in the flesh at the beginning of the film. The story then unfolds as Pranchiyettan is telling Francis about his life. The movie might have played better for me if I had known anything about this historic figure, but I didn't. Even if I was Catholic at one point in my life, my knowledge about their many different personalities is very limited. But as I understand, his life and that of our protagonist Pranchiyettan have a few similarities, and the journey of Pranchiyettan leads to an important message and new outlook on life for him. As usual with these Malayalam chill type of lighthearted comedy dramas, it takes a while for him and us to get there. The movie unfolds in a rather episodic nature, with the first half showing several of Pranchiyettan's attempts to make a name for him, mostly following up on plans by his friend Vasu Menon, played by Innocent. And in the second half, first making the acquaintance with the young interior decorator Padmashri, whose name is also a direct play on an award that Pranchiyettan wanted to buy for himself. And then, for the conclusion of the movie, it's the relationship between him and that young schoolboy Paulie. And on the way there's certainly a lot of lighthearted entertainment to be enjoyed. The most fun for me was the chemistry between Mammootty and Innocent in the first half, and between Mammootty and Iyapan in the second. Both Innocent and Iyapan aren't really restrained in their acting, and I found both of them to be a lot of fun. It's also this juxtaposition of the naive and high hopes Pranchiyettan has each time they come up with a new plan, and the realization that it once again didn't work out. I don't think I have seen Mammootty in a role quite like this before. I think Pranchiyettan must be quite successful as a businessman, even if I don't quite understand how he managed to achieve that, and yet he's still very much the little boy from school who's still so insecure about himself. In an early scene, he's trying to give an impressive speech to win an election, but with his rival from school there and that rival's wife, who has been Pranchiyettan's crush back then, there's even a small shot where he sees both of them in their outfits from back in school, he's just bumbling around and messing up all of his words. And Mammootty is just so adorable in this role. It's his appearance, the actions of his character, and of course Mammootty's performance itself. You always have the impression that Pranchiyettan is way too good at heart to really go for these shady attempts of becoming a more respected guy. You just want to shake him and tell him he should just be himself and not care too much that people call him Ari Pranchi, which means rice Pranchi in a degrading way because his ancestors were rice traders. Alongside Innocent and Iyapan, the film features several more familiar faces from Malayalam cinema in supporting roles, and each one has a few moments to shine. I liked that Priyamani played a rather strong female role, which helped to look past the really immense age gap between her and Mammootty. But for an outsider like myself, the overall structure and story was still a bit too loose, unfocused, the actual character arc not developed enough, and again, the tonal shift towards the end totally ham-fisted. In the end, Pranchiyettan and the Saint is a nice, little, feel-good film, but I unfortunately wasn't really able to connect with it more. So in German I'd say, Mammootty zeigt sich von seiner unschuldigen, bezaubernden Seite in dieser seichten, etwas sehr episodenhaften Geschichte, zu der ich aufgrund der doch ausgeprägten kulturellen Hindernisse nie so ganz finden konnte. I give Pranchiyettan and the Saint 6 out of 10. It's more like 6.1, but I don't do that.
Yeah! Yeah!
Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Pranchiyettan and the Saint. And also, what Mammootty movie should I watch next? You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd, and also on Patreon, simply at @JimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.